Bravo, sir. Bravo. What a week. What a life. What a time to be alive. How you feeling?
Great week. It's always so good seeing just being with Bitcoiners and hanging out with Bitcoiners and getting to know them. I mean, uh, I guess we'll just start it off with a brag. Like I got to spend a lot of time with Craig Raw and his beautiful wife.
His beautiful
Um,
voice.
I think that was a big win for me. That was special.
He's uh he's a scholar and a gentleman. Obviously, we had him on stage for the live RHR. I was able to speak with him briefly backstage before we went on, and yeah, just an incredible human. He's going to be here in Austin in a couple of weeks too. He was telling me. So, Craig, if you're listening, we need to connect and do a rip.
I thought you already talked about it with him.
We did. I mean, we're going to do it, but we need to pick a date.
I think you just like giving off the perception that you get to communicate with people through the.
It's a good
Like
it's a
I
good
literally
perk
had a
here.
conversation with him. He's like, I'm very excited that when I'm in Austin, I'm going to be doing an in person rip with Marty.
Yeah, it's fun. It's gonna be comfortable. We got these chairs here, Craig. We got a good setup. It's popping in the Bitcoin Commons here right now. There's a bunch of people behind us doing a tour. Maybe we'll get a peep in at some point. But no, dude.
Bunch of
How
yeah, go
is
on.
the how was the reaction from the Bitcoin Magazine team to how the week went?
Uh, we could talk about it next week. It's just been constant debriefing for the like. I literally just got off 2 hours of debriefing calls. But I mean, I think it was obviously a massive success. I think the total tally was about 26,000 people attended.
Man,
Um, I know personally, I was pleasantly impressed with Sound Money Fest ending it. It was like a proper celebration to end it off.
how was that?
Um, I
I had to leave Saturday morning.
I kind of just like peeped my head in out of morbid curiosity, like because I was exhausted and I was like, "There's no way I'm doing a music festival right now." And I stayed the whole day. It was great. It was
Hell yeah.
fucking awesome. Killer Mike and Big Boy were fucking insane. I heard really good things about Dead Mouse. Logic was his first live performance in 3 years. Um,
Damn.
Vibes were high. Vibes were really high.
Because Logic was supposed to be retired, right?
Well, he's first live show in 3 years. So
Yeah.
I mean, 3 years is pretty long time not to have a live show if you're an artist.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was a great week.
Also, during Sound Money Fest, in between each set was clips of Ross and Lynn and Ross's mom Lynn,
Yeah.
and those were very powerful. Um, yeah, so I think a lot of people got exposed to the story of Ross that had no idea who he was. I mean, there was thousands of people there that only had Sound Money Fest tickets that didn't have tickets for the rest of the conference. So that was definitely a highlight as well.
Yeah. Ross is in prison serving a double life sentence. He was prosecuted by a woman who now runs a $1.5 billion crypto VC fund. She's leveraged her tarnishing of that man's life
Which
to.
fund is that again?
I think it's named after herself, Vaughn or
Oh yeah, it is
Han
named after herself.
Han funds or whatever. Um, yeah, just think
Well, I don't want to hear any talks about us of having won already, as long as he's still in his cage.
that's good. Yeah, we'll know we've won when we back up to the prison that Ross is in, break down the wall and put him in the paddy wagon. Say you're free, sir. You're free. Free Ross. All right, let's get this started. Price of Bitcoin right now, as you can see, we'll go with the block lock. I can't read it now. It's $39,991. One cuck buck is going to get you 2,502 sats, back under an $800 billion market cap, sitting at 759.8 billion cuck bucks. We had a difficulty adjustment just how long ago? When was that?
Third negative one of the year, right?
Yeah, it happened 43 plus 16 is 59 blocks ago. And it was a negative 1.3% adjustment. That's because blocks were coming in at 10 minutes and 4 seconds on average. Again, we're only 59 blocks into this epoch, estimated to be an upward adjustment of 5.3%. But that's not an accurate reading. We're too close to the last adjustment, which happened early this morning. We are currently seeing 2,298 transactions in Clark's mempool. Oh, wait, no, that's the predicted next block. Clark's got 842. 8,433 transactions. I can't speak. I'm still in a daze from last week. Samurai Roll Poll has 4,529.37 Bitcoins in unspent capacity. That's $181 million in unspent value. And I believe that's an all-time high reading on this podcast. 4,500.
Let's fucking go.
Let's go. There's a lot going on in the world right now, even though you've had big conferences. I had Houston 2 weeks ago, Miami last week, family in town this week. I'm still trying to play catch up, but there's been a lot going on in the world, particularly in the macro land, where we're beginning to see nation states file for bankruptcy. We had Lebanon, we talked about a couple of weeks ago. Basically came out, the government, the central bank came out and said, we have to start from scratch. We're not going to be able to pay back our debt. We need to go to the IMF to help us restructure. We're rug pulling everybody. You're not going to get the money in your bank account. Now, this week, we have Sri Lanka, which is a small island nation of 22 million people south of India, that came out and said, hey, we've been pretty fucked the last few years. We're an economy driven by tourism. Obviously, with the lockdowns, people haven't been traveling, and so our economy's shot. And then the combination of that, rising food prices, rising energy prices, they decided that they're going to use the money that they have in their bank accounts, left in their bank accounts, to buy essential commodities, energy and food specifically, and not pay back their debts. And so a couple days ago, they came out with this letter basically announcing to the world that they are not going to be paying their debt payments anytime soon, essentially filing for bankruptcy. And what's interesting about this letter that Carr has up on the screen is, like, they make it known in there, like, we've been very good debtors since 1948. We haven't missed a payment ever. And the situation that has unfolded over the last few years and is crescendoing with this Ukraine-Russia war that is just exacerbating supply chain problems and commodity prices has forced their hand as well. And so in just a few weeks, we've seen two notable nation states file for bankruptcy, and I wouldn't be surprised that there's more to come in the coming weeks, coming months.
Yeah, so I mean, they're basically going to borrow a bunch of money from the IMF and then start payments again.
Yeah, there's no, like, determined date of when they'll begin starting payments again. And I mean, it's sad. They're having food riots. I
heard it's a very beautiful country, great people.
I mean,
it's a shame to see.
Right, my good friend Stefan Livera. He was living in Sri Lanka, I believe, for a bit here recently, and yeah, it's fucked, man. You're seeing these again. I don't know if we said it on RHR, but the global spring is upon us. Like, you had the Arab Spring in 2010, which led to mass riots in Egypt, throughout the Middle East, due to rising food prices specifically. And it was sort of isolated to that part of the world. And fast forward to today, very similar things happening, but it doesn't seem to be isolated to any particular region in the world. We just mentioned Sri Lanka. They're having like food riots because they're having shortages. Shanghai obviously they're locking down the country for COVID, and they're having food shortages. Peru saw people hitting the streets for similar reasons. I believe I've seen movements in Italy and Greece as well. It's, it's a fucking weird time to be alive.
Mandibles.
Stack those 10,000 sats.
Honestly, it just feels like the news is just a group reading of mandibles at this point. We're just all part of a book club.
Yeah. Yeah. It's happening, freaks. And we're waiting. Like, that's what I posted. So I posted a tweet about this. I quote tweeted the Sri Lankan bankruptcy news and said, "The wave of nation state bankruptcy is upon us. Buckle up, freaks." And there was a lot of people in my comments like, "Hey, don't try and like pump Bitcoin. These people are suffering."
It's like how Dorsey caused hyperinflation when he tweeted about it.
Yeah, exactly. Like I want to make it clear I'm not celebrating any of this at all. This is something that's terrible to see unfold, but we've been saying for many years this is probably what's going to happen. This is what happens when you completely detach your monetary systems and economies from reality by using a debt-based fiat system for many decades. And now the chickens are coming home to roost, and
I mean,
all this shit is happening. It's fucking very sad to see, and people are suffering. People will die, and
the scary part is first of all, most do not even realize, even among our even in our bubble, I think most people don't realize the significance of what's happening and how bad it can get. But especially outside of our bubble, like I think most are. I mean, we're about to talk about the CPI print, but like most do not even realize that's happening, and when they do, they're not gonna realize until it gets much worse. And when they do, at that point is when everything gets much worse, and we're gonna see. I fear that we're gonna see. I hope that we don't. Um, a lot of chaos and a lot of despair and a lot of it's just going to be a fucking disaster, and I'm just not looking forward to it. It just weighs on me on a daily basis at this point.
Yeah. I mean, it's gradually then suddenly. We're at the beginning of the suddenly part. It's happening, and
Or the end of the gradually part.
I think beginning is suddenly.
Yeah, well, you also don't know your plurals. So what are you gonna do?
But speaking of that, CPI print 8.5%, new 40-year high. So it's hit a 40-year high for the last 3 months straight. And
It's going to hit a 40-year high for the next 40 years.
Yeah, the interesting thing about this CPI print was the fact that the Biden administration came out. It was either Monday or Tuesday. They announced it yesterday, so they came out Tuesday afternoon. You had Jen Psaki during a press briefing essentially try to front run the inflation print by saying, all right, the number is going to be shockingly high, particularly when you look at energy and food prices. They're going to be significantly higher than the core CPI inflation. And that was like a move that shocked me a bit because it signaled to me that the people at the federal government level in the United States, particularly the Biden administration, are worried about this getting out of hand. They're trying to front run it. And in that particular press briefing statement, Psaki referred to the inflation as Putin's price hikes, trying to blame Russia. And so they're trying to allocate blame to Russia-Ukraine war for all the price hikes. But as we know, prices were rising pretty significantly before Russia ever invaded Ukraine. And another thing we should make clear, it's not only the Biden administration's fault that prices are rising as quickly and rapidly as they are. I mean, Trump was in charge when we decided to shut down the economy and print a bunch of money. And I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I thought like I thought the chart you put in the bent was a good chart that showed where like the Biden administration started and like where the war in Ukraine started. But really, it should have been the lockdowns, right? That dip when the lockdowns started under Trump, that's where it all fucking really came to a head, and then set up this dramatic path up, like on the left more, right?
Yeah,
That's the mark. You lock everyone down, shut down the economy, shut down small businesses, and then print a shit ton of money.
yeah. And then even before that, I mean, this
Oh yeah,
is
of course. It's all connect. It's
yeah.
all it's all just been a
Everybody's just been passing the
it's a house
baton.
of cards that has just been building up, just waiting to implode over 60 years. But in recent terms, that is, I mean, like that's crazy.
Yeah. No, but it was again. Did you have any thoughts on the front running by the Biden administration? I thought I was like, whoa,
Well,
like
I
you
think they
guys are
obviously
worried.
listened. They obviously listened to Bitstein's talk at BitBlock Boom 2019. When you do a meme, you want to do the three words.
Putin's price hike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes.
I think the biggest takeaway from this that was really good was the most fucked up part is that there's people who know what the print is ahead of time.
Well, I mean, the government has to know, right? It's the Bureau of Labor Statistics that send this out, right?
I know, but they're like, they're setting up this whole press conference and stuff the day before. Like, so then what is the print? Just let us know what the CPI is at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. 8.5%, and that's underscoring it. It's a new 40-year all-time high, and it's not even accurately depicted.
I mean, that's like one of the coolest parts about Bitcoin, right? Is that no one, like, there's no, in a proper free market, there's no such thing as insider information because it's just immediately traded on as soon as someone knows something. Um, and that information is readily available as much as possible. But there's a clear lack of transparency here that is abused by people in positions of power to financially better themselves.
Yeah. It doesn't just stay in the political realm either. I mean, we know Nancy Pelosi, a bunch of other politicians on both sides of the aisle have been using their insider information that they get as representatives of the American people to place bets in the stock market and other markets to significantly increase their uh, their their wealth. It happens in the crypto space too. Did you see the Kobe did a bit of analysis on like the most recent batch of coins that Coinbase listed, and it seems that there was some
Oh,
pre-listing
when you said
announcement
Kobe, I
trading.
was like, I thought you meant Kobe Bryant for a second.
No,
Um,
crypto
yeah,
Cobain.
yeah. Kobe found an actual wallet because Ethereum has even worse privacy guarantees than Bitcoin, and people just reuse the same account number or account address or whatever they call it, account for multiple different token types. Like he like literally found a wallet that just had every token that they announced in the announcement that was pre-bought ahead of time.
Yeah, they bought like hundreds of thousands of dollars of each token the day before.
Yeah.
Is Coinbase insider trading? There were some questions
Oh,
about
it
it when they launched Bcash.
always has been.
Always has been. Yeah, so be aware of that, freaks. Don't use Coinbase. And again, like the coins that they launched too, like it's actually embarrassing how far Coinbase has fallen at this point. They're just a run of the mill shit coin bucket shop. They
Always has
they
been.
don't care about quality at all. They don't care about you. Get your coins off the exchange. Oh, you don't have it on the list, but you see like Celsius and a bunch of those. Do you have this on the list? I don't think you do.
No.
You not want to talk about it?
No, I don't have it on the list. What did Celsius do this time? Don't use Celsius, freaks.
Well, don't you? If you're in the U.S., you're not going to have any reason to anymore. Similar with BlockFi and other companies, they had to stop offering their yield bearing products to U.S. citizens, I believe. which is good.
Interesting.
Get your coins off of the exchanges and these other third parties like Celsius and BlockFi, and get them in the wallets you control. I mean, there's definitely some
100%.
rehypothecation going on. There's, I mean, and if you're a moon boy and you want the price of Bitcoin to pump, uh, this is the way to do it, because if there is rehypothecation, you take the coins that you have title to off the exchange and into your possession. That creates less coins that can then be rehypothecated, and therefore used to short Bitcoin, be the
Hey,
paper
if we
markets.
keep if we keep accumulating Bitcoin and holding custody ourselves, then if they try any fucking games about trying to keep us down with like short paper markets, like you see as speculation in the gold market is, then we'll blow them the fuck up, and they can have fun staying poor.
Yeah.
That's
Cardi.
that's the plan. But more importantly, I would say for the individual is, look, you know, there could easily become a time, and we've already seen it happen in other countries. We've seen it happen in Russia. We've seen it happen in Ukraine. We've seen it happen in China, where you just can't withdraw your coins someday. Where they just stop allowing withdrawals.
Yeah.
So stop playing with fire. Dip your toes in. Learn self custody. Practice. Get comfortable before you need it, because if it's a time of chaos, if it's a time when you really need it, um, like you don't want to learn how to shoot guns when the zombies are coming into your house. You know, it's not the right time to figure it out.
No. Prepare. Cardi, you have that news article up? What is this exactly? Rolls back crypto yields.
Fuck Celsius.
Yeah, I mean, I would not trust my UTXOs with Celsius.
But also like fuck whatever regulator stopped them from offering this product. I feel like everyone has the right to get wrecked.
Yeah, that's a good point. Um, yeah, non-accredited. If you're not an accredited investor, you can't do this stuff. Uh, Virgil, the Ethereum core developer,
This one's fucked up.
it's 63 months for helping North Korea evade U.S. sanctions. I
That's
mean,
5 years. Um, I noticed that much of crypto Twitter doesn't really want to talk about this. I think probably a mix of fear and ignorance,
why don't people want to talk about it?
because it's a very sensitive topic. No one wants to get sent to jail for 5 years. Uh, they look. Virgil was an Ethereum developer. He was an employee of Ethereum Foundation. Um, and he went to a like a crypto conference in North Korea and gave a presentation that was like, my understanding was pretty much like how to avoid sanctions using Ethereum and cryptocurrency, and there was like some slides even that said like sanctions yay and stuff like that. So he was really poking the beast.
No sanctions. Yeah.
Yeah, no sanctions yay, but it is a bit of a there's a slippery slope here, um, for anyone talking about financial privacy publicly
Well,
like we do,
you don't.
and that concerns
You
me.
can abstract it even further. You don't even need to hone in on financial privacy. Just freedom of speech. What are you? Are you not allowed to explain that this is possible? Like, it is possible.
I mean, correct, you are not allowed to.
Yeah. Why? Because you're aiding and abetting an enemy. Is that what they're saying?
I have not, for sure. Definitely, I have not. I have no intention to.
Neither do I.
Um, but it's a very sensitive topic, and there's a chilling effect, and like people do not want to talk about it. People do not want to bring it up. You will not see large accounts tweeting about it.
Why
You
don't they
know,
want to talk? Like, what are they worried about? Like, just they're going to bring the hammer down on.
Marty, we don't live in a free country, and we're surrounded by cucks.
We are surrounded by cucks. We're gonna win though.
We're
We're
gonna
gonna
win.
win. We just need to embolden everybody.
Well, Virgil was emboldened, and now he's going to spend 5 years in jail.
Oh yeah, I mean, don't go to North Korea.
Yeah, I mean,
Apparently,
but that's an easy statement, right? To just dismiss it. Okay, don't go to North Korea.
I mean, he was wearing like official North Korean regime garb too.
Yeah, I mean,
Apparently.
he's a fucking idiot, but it's still scary shit.
Yeah. Yeah. What? Will we be free? Will we free ourselves? I think we will. I mean, I think if shit keeps going down the path that it does, well, so that's like the conversation. I think we're at the suddenly part because I think people are beginning to lose confidence in not only like the U.S. dollar, but like the government in and of itself. It comes in. Joe Biden's recent polling number, I think he just hit a new all-time low in people's approval of what he's doing. Like, and if you couple this economic strife with the collapse in confidence in the government, like that, the big question is, all right, that's going to happen, and can the freedom lovers like ourselves protect ourselves and everybody else from the government trying to recognizing that collapse in confidence in both the dollar and the actual structure of the government, can we prevent them from clamping down on us and doing like the fascist control grab? Is it possible? I hope so. I like to
I
think so.
just, yeah, I mean, look, I like to argue semantics with you. It's one of my favorite parts of doing this show. Um, but we're definitely, it definitely feels like we're close. I just like the suddenly phase is gonna rip our fucking faces off. Like it is not gonna be. You're not gonna be posting cheerleading tweets about NFTs on Lightning when we're in the suddenly phase.
No, I will not be. It'll all be practical.
I mean, and you're even starting to see like some of the glimmers of it. Like they had that New York Post article that I guess was originally in the Sun that's called "The Psychopaths." There was another article someone
That was
sent
so
to
weak,
me
though. That was
that was like
so
calling us
weak.
cult members. But there, that is the
The
that is the
Bloomberg,
play,
the
right? You
Bloomberg
change
Jack Dorsey spiritual leader
you
type.
make us out to be crazy, and then you make us out to be the enemy, and then you start really trying to crush dissent as much as possible. Like a desperate government is a really scary thing.
Yes.
Desperate people in a failing state is a really scary thing. And we have not seen shit yet. We have not seen shit yet. If we go down that path, it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. But hopefully, my thesis for a while has been education and tools that empower individuals will lessen that pain, will lessen that darkness period. But we have not seen shit yet.
No. And that's why we do the show too, trying to front run the narrative. Basically, here's what they're going to
100%.
do. Here are the receipts that we told you this is what they're going to do. And don't let them take the power that they want when things get very desperate and they get flaily and they get sloppy, they get angry, and they try to put the chains on your arms and say, no, you're staying with us. You can't get away from us. We're going to get away from them. We are. But you need to use the advice that we've been giving. You need to take control of your own keys. You need to get Bitcoin. You get your family and your friends stacking sats and doing things the right way. You need to.
Just think for yourself and take personal responsibility and get your shit together.
Yes. Yeah, actually, I really hope we're not at the suddenly part. Hopefully, like the end of the gradually part.
No, it's actually the opposite. I wish this was the like like if yeah.
Because you want to
I
get it
think it's the
over with.
opposite because then that would mean that it's not as severe.
Yeah.
I just think it's gonna be. I'm not trying to be a doom and gloomer. I just want the freaks to be prepared. I want my family to be prepared. Um, I want my friends to be prepared, and I want to lessen the pain as much as possible. That's all.
Yeah. We're gonna win. We're gonna win. Optimistic. We gotta be optimistic. We're not trying to make the freaks cry this week.
Yeah, no, no. Be optimistic. Just don't be ignorant and unrealistic or idealistic.
Yes. Um, we
It's
weren't.
okay because we're going to be able to send NFTs and tether on Lightning. So pretty excited about it.
I got nothing there. Yeah. Well, now I'm thinking back. I actually think like Francis, Alex Fetsky, and Giacomo swayed my stable coins as a necessary transitionary mechanism. Thoughts on their
Well, the
panel?
stable coins just had an 8.5% inflation print too.
Right? Exactly. It's like if like we do have crazy hyperinflation hit the world, like that transitioning period, like it's over.
Well,
Um,
it's not even that. Like, so we just had BlackRock basically take over USDC, which is the number one regulated stablecoin, right? Like as this chaos starts to unfold, like you don't think like these massive pools of dollars that are used for oftentimes for illicit things aren't going to be like a main target of the government? Like, of course they're going to be a main target, and you're just sitting there holding them, just waiting for waking up one morning and just not having any money.
yeah.
But in the meantime, it's a really easy way to get VC funding.
Are we funding any stablecoin projects?
Are we, Marty?
No,
We are not.
no, we are not at 1031.
Well, we're Sats are my stablecoin.
Been saying that for years. Front running the stablecoin narrative. Make sure you get your sats. Yeah, speaking of cucks too, the ESG panel that I was on got me really
I haven't
heated.
watched it yet. I noticed you guys were going at it on Twitter.
Yeah, well,
I meant to watch it before
there's
we recorded, but I'm exhausted.
yeah, there's no such thing as green hash.
Well, I've smoked some before.
I have as well. In terms of Bitcoin hashcash SHA-256. And again, like you talk about like cucks. I'm not trying to call the people I was on stage with cucks, but it's like, come on, bending the knee to a government that's losing power and to a regulatory regime that is nonsensical, hysterical, uh, and and trying to appease people who hate you just doesn't make sense to me. Do not bend the knee for these people. Bitcoin is a good thing. Bitcoin mining is a good thing. Energy usage isn't a bad thing. It actually correlates very tightly with human flourishing. We should apologize for nothing, and we should not ask for regulatory clarity. Bitcoin mining has been existing in the United States for 13 years, and the private industry has done a very good job of building out a solid infrastructure without any need for clarity up to this point. Trying to separate hash between the electricity production behind the miners is a slippery slope that will lead to a bifurcation at the regulatory level. If you start advertising green hash now, the government is going to take that motto and run with it and say, oh, if you're not using green hash, you can't mine Bitcoin. And if you can't see the slippery slope, whether you're part of the Bitcoin Mining Council or somebody who's trying to push this investment thesis on to the market, and I'm sorry, I don't know what to say. Like, if you don't believe in the slippery slope fallacy and where this stuff ends up, maybe you shouldn't be at the heads of these companies in a Bitcoin world. Like, Bitcoin is the most important technology that we have, making sure that we foster the network and allow it to flourish in the way it needs to and it should, is an imperative at this given point in time. Like, this is like we are the first stewards of this technology. We cannot fuck it up for the people that come after us. And I don't think Bitcoin would get fucked up by a lot of this meddling and catering to the ESG bullshit, but I do think it can set back industry in the United States and North America in general for a long time. We can just shoot ourselves in the foot. And, yeah, we'll speak out against that.
Well, we're good at shooting ourselves in the foot.
Oh yes, we are. We are.
Like I said, I haven't listened to the panel yet. I will make sure I do it, freaks, before next week.
Yeah.
How did Elaine do? I was pretty excited that we put her as moderator.
She did very well. I want to give a shout out to Elaine. It was 3-on-1 up there on that stage, and she was a great moderator to help play devil's advocate with the other three participants.
Well, the way, okay, yeah, I'm not going to talk about panel construction on air.
I love Elaine. I love Elaine.
It wasn't designed. It wasn't designed in a way to be 3-on-1 on you, for what it's worth.
I don't care.
It wasn't like it wasn't to me. It wasn't a trap. It was a panel designed around you.
Ooh.
For what it's worth.
I'm not saying I got in a trap either.
Even the title.
Yeah.
Which I told you the original title, right?
Yeah, what was it?
It was ESG is an attack on Bitcoin, and then I was told that was not good, so we added is and question mark at the end.
Yeah. Well, there is. While I have it on top of mind, I didn't feel attacked or anything. I thought it was a great conversation, and
I look forward to.
I do like that there was competing views on the panel. But the one thing, this idea, well, Troy, if you're listening, we're gonna have to get you on the podcast.
Yeah, you got to just have Troy on the pod.
I got drunk.
You guys need to hash this out.
I got drunk Sunday night and said something bad about philosophers, but that
was clearly a drunk tweet. Everyone knows that was a drunk tweet.
I mean, he's not here to defend himself, but I will say this because I do believe it. Like the thought that you can just take a percentage of your Bitcoin holdings and then invest in quote unquote green mining. Number one, doesn't make sense to me. And like, how do you invest? You buy a stock of a company that says they're green mining. Green mining doesn't exist. All energy has trade-offs. There's no such thing as green energy. Solar panels are coal panels. They take up a lot of land. Wind turbines are made out of cobalt, and they don't last long. And then you have to bury them. They're not good in that regard for the environment. So none of this stuff is green, number one. So from first principles, the idea is bunk on its face. But then like when you actually dig into it, like buying a percentage of your holdings or investing in quote unquote green mining in accordance with a percentage of your holdings, like again, you're just forcing people to get into a risky investment, which is mining. Like you're forcing people, not forcing people, but telling people to invest in green mining if they want their feelings to be better. You're just pushing people further out the risk curve because mining is extremely risky. There's a lot of execution risks. There's a lot of moving parts, and trying to force people telling people to virtue signal by investing in mining doesn't seem like a great allocation of capital in my mind.
You should have Troy on the pod, and you guys should hash this out.
Yeah, I did. I shook his hand the first night, the first day of the conference. And I said, yeah, we got to hash it out. That's exactly what I said. Hash it out. Pun intended.
So on to positive news. Marty, bigger or more significant or less significant than the El Salvador news strikes Jack Mallers' announcement?
Less significant. Yeah, way less significant. It's not even close, dude.
You are way off on this.
No, I'm not, dude.
People are sleeping on it.
A nation state buying Bitcoin.
Yeah, a nation state of 6 million people
that doesn't matter, dude.
That we don't live in.
No. El Salvador news is orders of magnitude more important than this.
Wow. This is almost as bad as your Pete Clown World call.
No, why? All right, why am I wrong?
Okay, Marty. If in 6 months, 7 months, you're able to go into 50% of brick and mortar stores and Shopify stores online and be able to spend Bitcoin directly via Lightning with no KYC, that is less significant than El Salvador. That's what you're saying.
Yes,
You will never
110%.
have to. You'll never have to sign up for Strike. You'll never have to sign up for KYC service. You'll be able to spend your Bitcoin with no KYC, with relatively good privacy defaults
Yeah,
in
number one,
America at the majority of stores.
when it comes to Shopify, we built that here like years ago.
That's not the point, Marty. The point is the magnitude of merchants. The
Yeah, no,
magnitude of merchants.
no, I'm not gonna fall for the merchant adoption meme again. I did that in 2014. So
Okay, fine. Well, we'll see how this plays out. But you are
yeah,
extremely wrong on this. This is fucking huge.
I mean, I'm not saying it's small. I'm just saying when you compare it to the El Salvador news, it's not
I
anywhere in
don't.
the same realm.
Oh, congratulations! You know, the fifth dictator in the world started to gravitate towards Bitcoin.
Yeah, he was democratically elected, wasn't he? Just because he's kicking out corrupt judges and cleaning up MS-13.
He's running like death camps over there right now.
Is he? I don't know
Have
about
you
that.
seen the Have you seen the tweets he's been posting?
Uh, He's kicking out a lot of gang members, right? Is that what's going on?
I mean, they're gonna call us gang members when they crack down on us over here.
um, no, I don't know. I mean, a legal tender law in a country that is involved in many international trade deals that the U.S. is a part of as well is pretty massive. Like technically, if the, I mean, that it's still not talked about enough that El Salvador making Bitcoin legal tender uh, does force other countries like the United States to recognize it as such as well if we are going to uh, stay true to the trade agreements that have been written and agreed upon for decades. And so, and we need somebody in the United States to go fight this in court. Like, hey,
I
they
mean,
said it's
that's a
legal.
bullshit angle.
What?
That's a
No, it's
bullshit
not.
angle, Marty.
No, it's not. What's the bullshit? Okay, dude, I, you're gonna call that a bullshit angle. I'm gonna say you're falling for merchant adoption meme again. Like,
It's not
that's
a merchant adoption
yes,
meme.
it is, dude.
It's not a fucking meme, dude. If you earn in Bitcoin, if your net worth is 95% Bitcoin, if all your assets are Bitcoin, you got to spend your fucking Bitcoin, and you're not going to want to do it without K. You're not going to do it with KYC.
I
You're
agree.
not
That's
going to want to
big.
do it with KYC.
That's big. I agree. I just don't think it's as big as the El Salvador news.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I mean, that's the discrepancy. You know, it amazes me. It amazes me how many people believe that, but that's fine. I mean, we're allowed to disagree.
We can agree to disagree. I mean, dude, nation state adoption, legal tender specifically, with a country that's involved in many international trade deals that the U.S. is as well, still getting slept on. Um, that's all I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, okay. It definitely. I mean, obviously, El Salvador news had way bigger bang. Um, it feels larger for sure. I will agree to that. Um, but being able to just never have to sign up for a KYC service and be able to spend your Bitcoin on any goods and services you want in this country is going to have absolutely massive implications and could not have happened at a better time, especially as cash usage is dwindling. And I just, yeah.
No, I
I
agree. This is big. This is big. This is
What do
awesome.
you think is bigger, Marty? Do you think shitcoins on Lightning is larger than this, or is this larger?
I would say this is larger.
Yeah.
Taro's not only shitcoins though. You became a Taro maximalist on stage last week. It's good for Lightning Network liquidity in the very least. Speaking of Lightning Network, keep going down this. Robinhood and BitPay. Robinhood number one enabled withdrawals and added Lightning support. BitPay finally added Lightning support. Don't use either of these services, but it's cool.
Yeah, no one should use
They're
Robinhood
doing
or
this. Robinhood.
Wait, so let's just go back to this strike announcement.
Okay.
Um, I think there's a massive disconnect here on the the fact that it's Lightning only. That I wanted to talk about just
Oh
because
yeah, this is a
Twitter's
massive
not a good medium.
massive for privacy.
No, but it's bigger. It's bigger than that, right? Because there's a liability if you're a centralized processor, if you're a centralized merchant processor, being able to see a UTXO's history is a massive liability for you in terms of like KYC compliance and whatnot. There, like so, like I'm wearing the IBEX hat. Actually, I found out like we're supposed to be pronouncing it EBEX. But like that, we've been chilling with the IBEX guys all the time, and they just never fucking corrected us.
Ebix Mercado. God, I haven't
But
said
like
Ibex too.
both IBEX, I'm just gonna keep calling it IBEX because they never corrected me. Both IBEX and Strike uh, are doing Lightning only, and there's something there on the privacy side and the liability side. So like privacy for consumers, because senders have decent privacy guarantees when they use Lightning. Now Lightning has horrible privacy guarantees on the receiver side, but for the sender and the centralized merchant processor, obviously BitPay BTC Pay fixes this because you don't have a centralized processor, you have an open source tool that is self-hosted. But on the centralized processor side, they're not getting all that UTXO data. Marty, how much did you spend any Bitcoin when you were in Miami?
I actually did not.
So IBEX had onboarded 40 merchants around Miami. All the payment terminals in the Bitcoin conference um, was powered by IBEX, and you could pay with Lightning. Um, it was pretty fucking cool. Like coming back home and not being like there's a critical mass there. There's like a certain number of stores that like if you have 40 50 solid restaurants and stores in an area that accepts Bitcoin, like I don't know why I'd ever pay with fiat at that point. I would go out of my way to support those stores and get the additional privacy benefits.
Yeah. Shout out to Kizas. Shout out to Michael Odoshi for getting a lot of these people on boarded as well. I mean, we said it last week. Yeah, I agree. It's going to happen. But I also like, yeah, this is like weighing the stack versus spend trade off.
Well, like I mean, look, you if you have fiat left, then by all means, but you might as well have already spent that as Bitcoin because you're holding it in fiat. So like how is that any different? Like if you're 100% in Bitcoin or like 99% in Bitcoin, you have like a very small float in fiat. Like every transaction you make, it doesn't matter if you put it on your credit card, or if you put it in cash, or you put it in whatever, that's Bitcoin opportunity cost that's lost. People say like, oh, the guy who spent 10,000 Bitcoin on pizza is
You could have bought 10,000 pizza with those fiat dollars if you bought it that
but
way.
like
As well.
I didn't buy 10,000 Bitcoin at that time, right? Like I was buying pizzas.
What was I doing at that time? When was Laszlo buying those pizzas? 2010? God, I was an idiot 19-year-old running through the streets of Chicago.
I just think I guess on the privacy side, it's absolutely massive that we have a no KYC, skip fiat entirely, fuck the whole fiat system
I agree. I like that
from the
as well.
spender side.
I like that as well. Don't think it's as big as the El Salvador news.
Fair enough.
It's massive. But I think somebody's going to lead into the trade agreement stuff at some point.
You want to bet on that?
No, I don't want to bet. Because you don't have the... it's hard to put a timeline on that.
In the next 5 years, Bitcoin will not be exempted from capital gains tax through a legal tender loophole with El Salvador. How about that as an objective bet?
I'll take the under. Yes.
Okay.
I'll bet. What did it say?
Specifically through a legal tender loophole with El Salvador.
April 14th, 2022. April 14th, 2027.
How many sats?
1 million sats. Wow, that's going to be a lot.
No, 1 million sats is a horrible idea. I'm not going to I want your family to still be able to live in a home.
Let's do, what do you think, 50,000 or 100,000?
We can do 100,000 sats.
Let's do 100,000 sats. Somebody write it down.
Let the record show. Specifically, El Salvador legal tender loophole on that.
April 14th, 2027. Hopefully they don't kill me by then.
How much is the 100,000 sats going to be worth at that point?
Oh. In today's dollars or future?
No, in sandwiches.
Sandwiches. Right now,
100,000 sats buys you like
you can
5 sandwiches.
You'd probably be able to buy a sandwich shop. I mean, you'd be able to buy a Jimmy John's franchise with 100,000 sats.
I wonder if Jimmy John's will be around in 5 years.
Jimmy John's doing well for himself. Apparently, he's on the Bitcoin train as well. I have sources. Where are we going next? Shout outs. We'll get the shout outs. A lot of these are going to sound funny because people thought we were going to read them on stage, but we got to read them anyway. They sent them, they paid for them. Let me just put this in my lap. Love the show, Marty Jones and Caps Odell. It's Bitcoin, not Bitcoins. It's cattle, not a cattle. It's nuclear, not nuclear. Nuclear. It's niche, not niche. Thanks for all you do. I've learned so much from you both and have had hours of entertainment. Can you please remind my mate Aubrey, who insists on using Windows in his Google phone, that sticking with the default operating system makes him a gutless campaigner? When privacy, Aubrey. Peace and love. Aubrey, what are you doing? You don't have this on the list. And I went to their site. I didn't even see an announcement, but the pre-orders are live. If you go to start9labs.com, they have a partnership with Purism. We're going to be able to get like a Purism device with Embassy OS on it out of the box.
But that's for their self-hosting, right? Like it's not a personal computer. Purism is a good option if you want a personal computer. Aubrey. I like Purism. I like System 76. They're both very good if you want a pre-built Linux machine.
Yeah. So it is a personal server powered by Start9's Embassy OS. I like that. I like that team up there, Start9 and Purism.
Yeah, so I mean, my understanding with Start9 is that they're going to have like partner manufacturers that make their hardware going forward rather than them doing the hardware. They'll focus on the software. Yeah. Ironically, kind of how like Windows did it, which like Microsoft didn't start making hardware until recently.
Yeah, this is cool. If you guys haven't checked out, I mean, we've had Matt Hill on this podcast a couple times. I think what Start9 is doing, it was really cool. And this partnership with Purism is making me very bullish.
I just want to say, like, to me, like the cool part of El Salvador was this idea of this grassroots community that really adopted Bitcoin out of necessity. That 60-minute special that Carr just pulled up is really powerful, right? And it's fantastic to see. I just met Roman in Miami. Roman, I think Martinez is his last name. I believe he grew up in El Zonte. Like, extremely powerful.
Yeah, I agree.
That I don't want to dismiss that, and I'm not trying to dismiss that.
I don't think you're trying to dismiss anything. It's just like, which is bigger, this or that? I think it's that. You think it's this.
Just the Bukele pedestal stuff really is.
I mean, you can
troubling.
Remove Bukele from the equation and just look at it from pure like data input, legal tender, El Salvador. I think that's massive. Next shout out. Aubrey. Figure it out, dude. Figure it the fuck out. Your friend's worried about you. Sure. Born again Bitcoiner here. In no small part to TFDC and Citadel Dispatch. Marty, Matt, you're doing the Lord's work. Question for you. Been renting for a bit, waiting for this housing bubble to pop before buying again. It's a bloodbath out there. Offers 100K over asking, waived inspections, infinite appraisal gap guarantees. Fuck me. But what if this bubble never pops in dollar terms? If the dollar's checking into hospice as we speak, why not lock in current dollar prices on a fixed rate mortgage and opt out of a steeply inflating rental market? Am I missing something here? But to really wargame it, what if we do see 50% a month hyperinflation? Could there be a massive rug pull on already signed loans, unfixing rates, or unpegging them from the dollar? And then I'm wrecked after all that with a bloated mortgage. We've already seen some crazy shit go down, and I don't put anything past these motherfuckers. My head spins. What a humble pleb. What's a humble pleb to do in this day and age? I think it's funny we're getting this, reading this shout out today, considering what's been going on in the mortgage world this week. I'm at least temporarily like near to medium term. I think there's going to be a correction in the housing market because people, especially with adjustable rate mortgages, are finding that their rates are going up. You don't
Well,
have,
obviously, the rates are going up. The adjustable rate mortgage is a fucking predatory product.
yeah.
People should be very careful about that. I don't know about a housing correction when you have, the early days of massive inflation happening.
Well, let's war game
You
that.
always have that BlackRock backstop. They'll just come in and just
That's a good point.
buy people's homes and then re-rent them out to them.
That should be illegal. You think that should be illegal?
I don't know. I'm a believer in free markets.
But that's not a free market, right? They're taking money from the Fed,
Yeah, I mean,
buying
well,
houses and enslaving people.
they shouldn't have the that part is definitely not free, right? There's a Cantillon effect type of situation there, where they're closer to the spigot.
Let's stick on that because
My my yeah.
You go ahead. You go ahead.
I mean, look, I don't love the idea of being in investment real estate when you have the option of Bitcoin. But there's an argument to at least control your home, um, particularly if it has land and fresh water, and there's a security element there. And like, yeah, you still have to pay property taxes. Do you ever really actually own it? I would say probably not, because you're paying property taxes to the government, and those property taxes are going to get spiked in a chaotic type of situation, in a desperate type of situation. But yeah, I mean, if you take out the security element, renting gives you flexibility. You don't have to have a big down payment. You actually get privacy benefit because you can keep moving addresses. So even if your address gets doxxed and whatever the newest leak is, you're out of there in 8 months, 9 months. You have more disposable income to put into Bitcoin now, today. Um,
Yeah, well, so here's some stats. I agree with all that. I do plan on owning a house and land at some point in the next few years, but maybe I'm an idiot. Maybe you shouldn't time the market, but looking at pure data, this is a tweet from yesterday. JP Morgan Q1 retail mortgage originations down to 15.1 billion. That's 33% less than the fourth quarter and 34% less than a year ago. So it seems like the demand side of things, people just aren't. It seems like the market is a bit tapped out. And looking at these prices and how fast they've been rising, people are saying like, no, I'm just going to wait it out. And so that could draw prices lower. I've heard stories, anecdotes from people trying to sell higher end properties in places like the Bahamas and LA, and people I know personally, and they've had a situation where they've gotten into escrow multiple times and the buyer's backed out. So I don't know if, excuse me, if the demand is there, or even if it is, the ability to actually pay these inflated prices is there, then obviously you have rates going up as well. And so you have a lot of people who are probably expecting a zero bound interest rate policy from the Fed for an extended period of time, having to readjust their mortgage rates up, which is increasing their monthly payments and wages are not rising, excuse me, at the same pace that payment rate is rising, and other expenses are rising. So um, I
But
think
it's
that
still a hard asset in times of inflation.
yeah, but like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, what comes below shelter is food. So people, I could see people being like, all right, I'm going to sell my house, get some cash, make sure I have to buy some food with all this shit going on. I wouldn't be surprised that people, I mean, especially like when you consider people, you start at the high end of the market, people with second homes, they'll begin just offloading those. Um, shoo, I need to buy some food. Yeah, I don't know. I'm under the impression, or not impression. I think there's going to be a correction just with all these factors.
How big of
Personally,
a correction?
I don't know. I
If
don't
we're
know.
doing like 20% inflation or whatever, what's the real year over year inflation number you think?
It's got to be like 30s, 40s,
Okay,
potentially.
so if it's not more than a 40% correction, is it even a correction?
That's a good point. Could
You're still pricing. You're still pricing real estate and shitcoins is what you're doing.
yeah. Um, yeah.
I
This
think Bitcoiners have this advantage that if we're correct, we're holding an asset that will appreciate quicker than whatever other hard asset you're trying to buy, whether that's a home or ammo or something. But there's definitely an element to wanting to have security before chaos happens. That I feel like, is it worth waiting for a 30% correction in time of high inflation? I don't know.
yeah. Be aware, freaks. Be aware. Do your own
What was
research.
his question anyway? What should he do?
Yeah. I
Stay humble, stack sets.
yeah. I can't tell you what to do, dude. I can't tell you what to do.
Move to El Salvador.
uh, what are the other countries that were announced that are?
Move to the Bitcoin city.
Wasn't there an EU country
There
that?
was an island in Portugal, and there was an island somewhere else off of Honduras. And then the Mexico announcement was pretty much bullshit because she
Rug
launched
pull.
a CBDC. The thing about El Salvador was they didn't even have to vote on anything. Like he was just like, we're doing legal tender, and it's just automatic.
They had a vote.
I
They had
mean,
a.
did they really?
I mean, it may have been a pageantry, but it happened. It happened.
Good distinction.
Um, Next shout out, and this is one of the ones I feel bad that we were the freak thought we were going to read on stage. Um, First of all, love you guys. You bring so much content to this space. Secondly, I want to give a big shout out to my main dudes, Zach and Will. Without them, I wouldn't be able to make it to the conference this year. Wow. Okay, freaks, that's deep. This is what it's all about. Okay, I'm done with the shout outs. All right, Zach, Will, come on stage. Get up here. No, I'm serious. Zach, Will, where are you guys? Find them in the crowd. Those guys up here. Get those guys up here. You know who you are. Much love. Zach and Will. Sorry you didn't make it to the stage. If you were there at the live rabbit hole recap.
That one hurts. Come up on stage, Zach and Will.
Get up here. Join us.
Well, we appreciate you.
This is when we were supposed to
Was this the Ben's one?
I stand with Ben. 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 All Ben shout outs are banned from here on forward.
God, I can't believe you read all that.
You have to. They pay for it. The Bens are a scourge on this space. The Genesis block hash. That was one for RHR lore. The Bens are disruptive. They're nefarious, creepy. The Bens are a scourge on the space. They should not be tolerated. They should not be tolerated. Last shout out. Oh God, another one. Sup freaks, sup Miami. It's beautiful to see the positive eyes, a ubiquitous optimism for a positive future, and people coming together for an idea bigger than all of us. However, let this be a reminder that our community here remains incomplete. Medical apartheid is very much still a reality, and numerous non US citizens are denied entry whatsoever. Me being one of those outcasts, though I am happy to have gifted my ticket to a talented young Bitcoiner who I wish the best of times with y'all. Will closely watch from afar, and I'm looking forward to the next crossroads. The time to fight for freedom is now. But now, let's interrupt the shout outs for a second because I want to set something straight. My name is Marty Bent, and I talk to old men about penis jokes. It's on the record, freaks. Roll back the tapes. You're supposed to be chuckling right now. That's Matt chuckling. Couldn't hold myself from putting in that one, dude. Love you guys and wishing everybody a fucking great time in Miami. Bitcoiners stronger together. Cheers.
There was
Jay.
actually like a prompt that said Matt Chuckles here.
Yes.
Wow, that was ambitious. I've never gotten that before.
uh the
Appreciate you, freak.
cheers, Jay. Did I really talk about dick jokes with old men though? I mean,
Yeah, check the tapes. You've done it multiple times.
I've definitely told some dick jokes. Like, do I
It's like your thing. You do it all the time.
silo them with old men though? Like, I can talk dick jokes with young men too. This is all possible. I don't
Matt
discriminate.
Chuckles.
I don't discriminate when I tell dick jokes. Speaking of dicks, a person without one, Janet Yellen, explained Bitcoin to a whole crowd.
Wonderfully.
Yeah, on behalf of the U.S. Treasury Department. There's a lot to learn from Bitcoin, she said. She mentioned she name dropped Satoshi and explained how Bitcoin actually worked. And I believe it's a posturing like, hey, we should learn from this and launch our own CBDC. So Bitcoin is on the mind of the Treasury. Obviously, we've known that. They've been talking about it for years, going back to Steve Munchenbutts and other Treasury secretaries. But it seems like getting to the point where the government is going to try to adopt the technology. And this was a signaling from Janet Yellen in that direction. Do you have any comments, thoughts on this?
I mean, it was cool that whoever wrote her speech did the homework.
You don't think Janet actually did her own research?
I thought this was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it is so surprising to see this that the majority of us, including myself, when we first saw it on Twitter, thought it was a deep fake.
Yeah. And here, cars on the official.
Like I thought, like Brecky made it or some shit.
Speaking of Brecky, how much did his eye wind up going for?
I don't know. I think Bailey bought it.
Did he, boss?
I'm pretty sure. He spent a lot on the art gallery was dope. The art gallery was really good.
I heard a lot of
The
people.
prices were too rich for my blood, but there was a lot there that were very, very cool pieces.
I did not make it to the art gallery, but I did hear it was cool. I did hear a lot of people got pushed into some NFT stuff though.
What was the NFT stuff? Was there NFTs in the art gallery?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I'm talking about the physical stuff. Physical stuff is really cool.
Physical art over digital art every day.
But I mean, it's okay because we're going to be able to trade NFTs on Lightning, and it's going to obsolete all shitcoins. So I'm super excited about it.
I am as well. It's going to be awesome, and it's going to help
Yeah,
Lightning Network liquidity, which is
I'm really excited about it.
I'll leverage people trading that shit if it gets me more Lightning Network liquidity. Ba, 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 ba. Janet, welcome to Team Bitcoin. It's great to see you explaining it to people. Hopefully you orange pilled some of those in the audience. Speaking of orange pilling, I mean, this is, or anybody who is trying to say like Bitcoin cannot help in situations when it's desperately needed. Mackenzie from CNBC, let me get her last name right, Mackenzie Sigalos from CNBC posted a video and a story of her working with Gleb Nelmenko, Bitcoin core contributor, to help send Bitcoin to a Ukrainian refugee who's in Poland. Mackenzie sent her Bitcoin from the United States to Poland using Blue and Moon Wallet, Moon with 2 U's, and then the Ukrainian refugee, whose name is escaping me right now, was able to take that to a Bitcoin ATM and get Polish. What are they using? Krona? No.
I think
Is it Krona?
it's cash.
It's cash. Poland's native currency out of the Bitcoin ATM. They said it happened in under 3 minutes, which is pretty cool.
I mean, it probably did if she was standing right in front of the ATM.
Yeah.
Because they sent it through Lightning.
Yeah.
I mean, they were using a custodial wallet on one side, but small steps.
Small steps. I mean, hey.
This is pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
Marty, what's the main reason that you think people won't spend Bitcoin? You think it's capital gains tax, or do you think it's because Bitcoin is designed to pump forever? Because the coolest part of the El Salvador news to me was this whole idea that the circular economy was not burdened by capital gains tax.
Yeah. Yeah, I think opportunity cost number go up. It's certainly up there.
But isn't that only if that's only if you have a significant amount of fiat, and then you're already suffering from opportunity cost.
Agreed. If you ask me what I think out there, capital gains is certainly scary. Parting way of stats.
If you don't
incentivizing
spend
consumerism. For me, it's incentivizing consumers. Like, why am I spending?
I mean, you bought a bunch of stuff that's in that studio right now. You buy things all the time.
I do it.
If anything, it's how is that incentivizing consumerism if you're using a hard asset when you spend?
Yes, I need a new laptop. I've had this since this is going on 6 years. No, 8 years.
Yeah, but when you do buy a new laptop, what's the reason for buying it with fiat instead of Bitcoin?
Yeah, the tax implications probably.
So if it's burdensome regulation, is Klaus Schwab winning?
What does Klaus Schwab have to do with burdensome regulation?
I thought he's doing all of it.
No. What? I think the burdensome capital gains taxes came in before Klaus Schwab. It was a twinkle in our eyes.
I'm just saying. So like
what are you trying to say? Well, yeah. Where are you going with this? Just tell me where you're going with this.
I'm saying, so if the main reason why people shouldn't spend Bitcoin is because of capital gains tax.
I'm not telling people not to spend their Bitcoin. Why?
I'm asking you out of your opinion. Like, why? What's the main reason you wouldn't spend Bitcoin? Just because of capital gains tax?
Probably, yeah.
So they're winning, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have we not made that clear?
What are
you trying to get at? You're trying to get at something.
I'm trying to figure out.
What do you think?
Because, I mean, I think the opportunity cost argument is bullshit.
Yeah, I think it's definitely capital gains.
Right.
Are you telling people to get on zero? You're telling people to get on zero without something.
I'm not telling people to get on zero.
You're telling people to get on zero.
No, I'm saying that a lot of us are already at least near zero, and it's the same effect.
I'm near zero as well.
I'm just I just don't. It's weird. It's weird the never spend Bitcoin thing.
Well, so like, we run a business here. Like, if you can make money, like obviously you work and you get paid roughly every 2 weeks.
Right.
If you can buy Bitcoin Yeah, if you can buy Bitcoin and then pay everything that you need to in fiat, and then never have
Right.
to
If
leave the
you
Bitcoin.
have a fiat salary, it makes sense.
Yeah,
Because then just instead of going through the trouble of converting into Bitcoin.
yeah.
But if you're earning in Bitcoin,
Just spend your cash flow on exactly what you need to in the fiat world and buy Bitcoin with the rest, and then never.
but if you're earning Bitcoin, it's a different story.
Yes, agreed. Agreed. I
So
think
that's the biggest. That's the biggest reason.
the biggest
Is
distinction.
is most people still earn at least majority fiat.
It's changing though.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what's changed for me is that the majority of my income, the overwhelming majority of my income is in Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think we have a significant portion of the cash flow in this business is
In
sats.
Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of my income.
Yeah, it's great.
That's the fundamental shift.
Yeah, well, yeah, we need to. That's what you should be You should be agreeing with me on the El Salvador stuff because that negates the capital gain shit. Like we should be trying to meme this. You don't even have to meme it into existence. Be like, this is true. A country engaged in an international trade treaty with the United States and many other countries has made Bitcoin legal tender. By proxy of the wording of the contracts in these international trade treaties, you actually have to recognize it as legal tender as well. It's literally in the contracts. Like, and so therefore,
I
you
don't
should
think it's
allow
going to
like,
happen. I'm not
but
saying that it shouldn't.
hey, not with that attitude. We can change. We're changing the ESG narrative here. We've made a lot of progress here on the ESG side of things, and we're going to do it on the legal tender side of
The
things.
tax treatment on Bitcoin is going to get worse. It's not going to get better.
No, not with that attitude. Not
Marty,
with that attitude.
every week you're telling us that they hate us, that they're coming after
They
us, that they're
do.
going to.
They
Okay, so
do.
then why are they gonna
They're also
make our tax treatment
they're
better?
also they're going to try to make it worse, but they're incompetent, they're lazy, and we're better at memeing than they are. And we're going to win in the long run. We're going to win. We have objective truth on our side. They signed those treaties. The wording in those treaties says if a country recognizes something as legal tender, you have to reciprocate that. And again is where you win the narrative war. Whoa, you're not going to reciprocate this? Where is truth? Where is law? Like, if they don't recognize that, you can just go to them like, all right, nothing that you say, there's no truth in what you say, so therefore you have no legitimacy. It's a catch-22. If they don't recognize it, they have no legitimacy. And then you have collapsing confidence in the government. And you just keep memeing that. Keep memeing that. That's why we do this show. So we can just get this information out there and you get a mind share, a critical mass of mind share that is willing to stand up and say, no, fuck you. You wrote this law down. If you don't recognize this, you signed this treaty. Here's the language in the treaty. If you don't recognize this, you essentially are a LARPer and you have no legitimacy. And therefore, I'm not going to recognize you or the laws that you try to thrust on me. I think we're getting to that point in society. Again, going back to what we were saying earlier, I agree with you. They're going to try and clamp down and get more control and tax us more and restrict us from doing things. It's inevitable. However, we need the mind share to stand up and say fight back, and you can do this peacefully. It just takes an I am Spartacus moment. I am Spartacus. I am Spartacus. People standing up and saying, no, you had no legitimacy. It is literally a decision. It is a decision. Like, you just say, no, I'm not going to respect you anymore because you don't deserve any respect because you're illegitimate. And luckily in the United States, it's harder for the government to come attack us because of the Second Amendment. Come on, Matt. Don't be such a Debbie Downer, a doomer.
I'm not being a fucking Debbie Downer. You're
You
shilling
are.
hopium to our audience is what you're doing.
No, I'm not.
There you are.
Fuck you. I'm not shilling hopium. I'm trying to instill confidence in people. Like, how do you get out of this? How do you get out of this if not for changing minds? What are we going to do? Just sit here and take it as they come and fucking try to run us over?
But that's my point. You're just flipping it around.
What do you mean? Yes, it's a mindset. We could change the mindset. We are changing mindsets. ESG is being destroyed. I'm not going to say we're single-handedly doing that, but people leaning into how hypocritical and stupid it is having a material effect on people's views of that. We could do that in other aspects of society as well. One of them being the legitimacy of a government gone mad with power. There's a new Bitcoin seed tool guide out there.
Good transition.
I truly believe this. I mean, I don't think I'm shilling hopium either. Obviously, cover your six. Like, make sure you've got your coins in your own wallet and you got good privacy and stuff like that. But I think why not both? Cover your six and try to change minds. That's where I'm coming from. Our boy, Bitcoiner.guide. Bitcoin Q&A runs this, right? I'm trying to, there's so many of these guides.
Yeah, it's Bitcoin Q&A site.
Yeah,
He
Bitcoin.
worked with some, I forget the other guy's NIM. It was a great NIM. I wish I remembered it. But yeah, this tool is pretty cool.
Is it on the page?
New seed tool.
Seed tool. This page offers a space for Bitcoiners to experiment and learn how Bitcoin wallets are generated using different sources of entropy, in quotations, or excuse me, parentheses, randomness. The page also offers many other seed-related functionalities, some of which are outlined below. Just like the tools and libraries used in its creation, this tool is also completely free and open source. If you find this page useful, consider donating some sats to the lead developer, Super Fat Arrow. That's the dude he did it with.
Super Fat Arrow with a PH.
How good
is that fucking name? It's such a good name.
One. It's a good one.
Well, shout out to both of them. Cool tool.
Very cool tool.
Freaks, go play with it. Don't use it with real money. And give them feedback.
Go check it out. We got something else. Last item on the list was Zoltan, the darling of the sell side analyst market. From
Dude's
Credit
fucking
Suisse.
killing it. Everyone should be reading all of his shit.
Yeah, this one particularly too, because he really dives into like the progression of the currency crisis of the last 30 years, particularly starting in the 90s. When you had like the Asian currency and Russian currency crises, then it was like a not our currency, not our problem moment. Then you had the 2008 crisis, and you obviously had the housing market implode, and it was like, all right, this isn't like sovereign, this isn't the U.S. sovereign debt problem, so it's like not really our problem. But now, this time around with countries transitioning away from the dollar, like it's gotten closer to home again. And something we've been talking about for weeks on this show is like, at the end of the day, with this particular crisis, people don't want dollars, they want goods. And we have a Bretton Woods 3 on our hands. The world monetary order is shifting below our feet as we speak. What'd you get from it? Here, yeah. Zoom in on this part right here.
Yeah.
Wait, go up. Where 1997 is. Yeah, so 1997, a sudden stop, sale of national assets, and FX reserve accumulation. This is what I was trying to describe. Ooh. Matt's dog's a big Zoltan fan. So yeah, it's getting closer to the source of the problem with every new financial crisis, and this one may be at the source of the problem, which is...
I mean, the TLDR is the dollar's fucked.
Yes. It is.
And if the dollar's fucked, then it's going to get really fucking messy.
Yes. Who fucked it up? These people in charge with no legitimacy. You need to call them out. There can be a peaceful transition.
Do they have legitimacy right now?
No. A lot of people think they do, but they don't. They're not legitimate in any way. Right. 81 million votes. It's legitimate. It happened. Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation. Now it's real.
But if they don't repeal capital gains tax, then that's going to be the eyes open moment.
What do you mean, eyes open moment?
I mean, that's what you said. It's like if they don't repeal capital gains tax, then people are going to realize that they're LARPs and not legitimate. But like all that other stuff, that didn't do it. But it's going to be a capital gains tax on Bitcoin.
Well, in the particular context of Bitcoin and money, I mean, yeah, there's a spectrum of it. Like people don't want to believe that elections are rigged and mail-in ballots.
I
We're
think
fucked
most
with.
Americans could give two shits about Bitcoiners. We're a very small group
We're
still.
psychopaths. Are we psychopaths? We have a spiritual leader in Jack Dorsey. We're burning up the world.
You know, it's only going to get worse. They're just going to keep making more attacks
Well,
about
this
us.
is why we need to front run.
Specifically the non-cuck Bitcoiners, because they're going to divide and conquer us. There's going to be a whole group of Bitcoiners that won't pay capital gains tax because they'll be fully KYC'd and they'll borrow against their Bitcoin and then they'll spend fiat through their surveillance credit card. You know, and those Bitcoiners will be completely fine by the state. They're no problem at all.
Matthew, this is why we do this show. We need to front run these narratives. And we need to educate people. You said it earlier. That's what we're trying to do. And I think, do you think we're having an effect? Do you think this show's working?
100%. I mean, that's the best part of Miami and all these things is meeting freaks in person and talking to them and getting to know them and it's humbling, you know. It's
It
it's
really
absolutely
is.
humbling. That's why I do it. That's why I come back week after week. Like,
It's overwhelming. Something like I was a little overwhelmed last week. It's crazy. I love you, freaks. Thank you for everybody who walked up and said that the show has helped you guys out. It really means a lot, and it still blows my mind. Like Matt said, yeah, I feel this is an imperative. We're on a mission. If not us, then who? We need more Spartacuses out there. We need to embolden people to stand up and say, fuck you. We're not taking it anymore. I'm mad as hell. I'm not going to take it anymore. And yeah. I don't know if the general public's going to hate us that much, though. I think we're making progress. I just seeing it in my own family and friend circle. Again, people I would never expect to be open to Bitcoin and actually fans of it, who would have previously fallen into the category of mindless NPC that would take the Bitcoin is burning, boiling the oceans.
I mean, we're
narrative.
definitely making progress. I'm not saying we're not making progress. It's just I just think people need to be more humble. I just feel like there's a cockiness element here that is just there's just a lot of ego, and it's I don't know.
Stay humble.
The idealism is great in peacetime, you know, but in times of chaos, idealism is fucking deadly, and it's important to be pragmatic and realistic.
Yes, yes, it is. Am I an idealist? Yes, in a lot of regards. I am. I'm an optimist. I do bring the realism out from
Is
time
the
to time
clown
as
world
well.
top in yet?
God, no. God, that was the worst call. We're almost a year. We're almost a year to the date. We're a couple months away, a few months away.
It's
I mean,
so
yeah,
far from being. It's so far from being in still.
you have people you have people out there legitimately arguing that giving 8-year-olds like castration medicine because they've been psyoped into thinking they're the other gender is legitimate and not child abuse. Clown world is nowhere near its top right now. It's that is, I mean, Weimar signs, end of Roman Republic signs. I mean, if you don't know this, like at the end of the fall, like near the fall of Rome, towards the end of the Roman Empire, same thing with the peak of the Weimar Republic Empire. People were obsessed with gender and sex, and they were degenerate, and everything was subjective in terms of sexuality and gender and stuff like that. This happened during the fall of empires of millennia past. I mean, you can go look this up. Like, people were sexually promiscuous. They were cross-dressing. They were doing many degenerate things, and history rhymes. And we're going through that right now here in the United States and beyond, as the culture war of the day seems to be obsessed with gender, sexuality, and most oddly, the sexual preferences and education of children. Degenerate. It's degenerate, and stop watching porn. It's part of the way that part of the toolkit that leads to this. I've retweeted a great porn thread yesterday. Now, how acidic it is to the mind. It literally fucks up your mind. Like it changes the gray matter in your brain. Pornography does. I was a porn coomer for a while, and I can tell you guys, I was very happy, and I'm still very happy for not being a porn guy anymore. I think it's made my life better. I think it will make yours too. Not pointing at you, Matt. There's anybody out there who's.
I'm aware.
It's true though. I mean, yeah, we live in a degenerate society, and there was some signs of that in Miami. I mean, Miami, the conference was incredible, but I got dragged to some after parties and places like, holy shit, this shit is demonic. Yeah, there was some late stage empire like stuff going on in Miami. It's not just Bitcoin specific; it's just the city in general. Am I freaking you out?
I'm just trying to figure out what you are willing for me to say publicly, and I'm being.
I got dragged to 11. We'll say it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
Lewis tweeted about it.
Fair enough.
And yeah, that was a sight to behold.
Which is a strip club.
Yeah, and I thought I always thought it was just a club. I've heard of 11. It's like notorious, but no, it reminded me of like I was looking around at one point. I walked out of there like this is not good. This is degenerate, demonic. Like, and I honestly had no idea it was a strip club when I was walking in. I was like, oh fuck, I've just heard this is like the club to go to in Miami. What are your thoughts? Did you make it to 11?
I was not there.
Yeah. That was a good thing. Yeah. Were you worried about like my wife finding out? Like she was the first person I told in the morning. I was like, holy shit.
No, I wasn't. I was just respecting your privacy.
Thank you.
I was wondering where you were going with it, and I did not know what to add because I did not want to.
Lewis obviously didn't respect my privacy. He was fucking tweeting at the club. Marty's at 11. I was like, yeah, I was there. Demonic. I don't think I'll ever go back. I know I'll never go back, actually. It's not for me. Should we end it there? Stop watching porn.
Should we end it there? What did you think about Elon's takeover of Twitter?
Yeah. Spectacle.
I mean, I think there's a learning experience here that Elon can do a hostile takeover of Twitter by buying Twitter shares, and you can do that with a proof of stake network by buying proof of stake tokens. But you cannot do that with Bitcoin. If you own more Bitcoin, you don't have more control over the network, and I feel like that's an important learning lesson here.
Very important learning lesson. You'll probably never be able to do this to Ethereum as well because it's probably never going to transition to proof of stake. They push back their merge by another 3 months this week. That thread's never going to end. Yeah, I mean Elon buying Twitter, spectacle.
Do you agree with me that like, I mean, so like if you on the scale of like porn isn't great for like children development and stuff, like what about is social media worse or less worse?
I think it's less worse.
Social media is really fucking bad.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Like Twitter is my last man standing. I feel like I just should not be using it anymore.
Yeah. A good way to avoid this stuff is just to be busy. That was the great thing about like last week and the week before and this week too. I've just been like crazy busy. I just haven't been on Twitter that much, and
I think the incentives of social media are pretty fucking brutal.
yeah.
I mean, we can end it there. Stay humble, stack sats. Love you, freaks. Consider subscribing to Scylla Dispatch if you haven't already.
Okay, I guess we're gonna end it. I had some things to say.
No, you can go. I'm down to go. I can go for another hour if you want.
We can't go for another hour, but yeah. Now I forget what. Oh yeah, social media. Yeah, be busy. Have a family. Uh, that'll get you busy. That's a good thing. I felt very fortunate to have my niece and nephew and sister and brother-in-law in town this week. Spent a lot of family time. It was a great way to decompress after uh, a week in Miami. We
Yeah,
went
priorities, right?
yeah,
Just what is important.
yeah. Family is the most important thing. I love my family.
That's a
Uh,
positive note.
yes. Go start a
I like
family.
ending on that.
Go start a family. Peace and love, freaks.